Hello, Scouts. It's Mr. Kugler. We're back outside cooking again, and today we're going to do something that is totally different than what we've done before. And that is, we're going to cook an entire roasted chicken in a copy paper box. Now, I know this sounds crazy. It certainly did to me the first time I was taught this about 15 years ago. But we're going to use just a standard copy paper box. You can see the cardboard on the back side, but this one is lined with aluminum foil. And the aluminum foil is wrapped in here. It's got a couple layers. Notice that none of the painter's tape is exposed to where the heat is going to be. I got it to stick in the inside by taking the painter's tape and wrapping it on itself and putting it in place, so I made like a double stick tape to get it to go. This is a great thing to do in advance of going camping, maybe during patrol corners or as an activity at your troop meeting, and have it all ready to go. And this has been used before. I simply take and replace the layer that is exposed on the inside with a new layer of foil to remove the piece of foil that may be spattered from the chicken cooking before. So we have a whole young chicken. We're going to get this prepped, and we're going to get it set up, and we're going to show you how easy it is to cook an entire roast chicken right in a cardboard box. So preparing the chicken, obviously using raw chicken, we want to practice our safe food handling skills. These gloves are an excellent choice to use when you're cooking out in the campsite and you're trying to handle raw chicken or raw meat. So I'm going to get gloved up here. First thing I want to do is I want to take the chicken. First, I made sure it was totally thawed. This came out of the freezer. And I want to remove it from the plastic wrap using a knife that I'm only going to use for handling the raw meat. There's some juice in the bag, so I'm going to step off camera and dump this into my garbage can. So take the whole chicken. Just carefully place it in my pan here. So what you want to do first, after draining and removing the chicken from the package, is check the inside to see if there are any of the innards, the gizzards, the liver, and those other parts. And you want to take and remove those and dispose of those unless you have a use for them. I'm going to trim off a little of the excess meat here. This isn't necessary to do, but cut off some of that excess fat there. And dispose of that. So the only thing I'm going to do to this chicken before we cook it is I'm going to sprinkle some poultry seasoning on it. Now, notice that I'm going to handle the poultry seasoning with these gloves that are dirty. This would be a great opportunity to have another scout help you so that when you handle the poultry seasoning, you could do it with clean hands. So what I'm going to do is I am going to sprinkle it, but I'm going to need to wash off this container afterwards to make sure it's safe. Apply some of this poultry seasoning right on top. Flip it over. Get it all the way around. Another thing that you could use is use seasoning salt, and you could also use, in addition to the seasoning salt, some ground rosemary. Mix it up, find some spices that you like that you think would be great on chicken. The other thing that I could have done is pre-package in a Ziploc bag the seasonings that I needed, so I didn't need to bring this whole big container out here to the campsite. So with my chicken seasoned, I'm going to get it set up inside of our box, ready to bake. So the trick to do this in terms of putting the chicken inside of the box to be able to mount it is to use a green stick. This is about 5/8 of an inch in diameter at this end and about 1/2 inch on this end. Green stick so it doesn't catch on fire or burn. And it's going to slide through holes that are on the ends of the boxes that, if you notice, they are about 2/3 the way up from the bottom to where the hole is, to be able to give it the space that we need above the heat and to be able to get the reflection off of the aluminum foil that's in the inside. So I'm going to start by taking the narrower end, putting it through one end of the box here. I'm going to grab the chicken, and through the opening on one end of the chicken, I'm going to slide the stick through, and then I'm going to bring the stick through the other end of the box. And it's as simple as that. We'll set this here for a moment. Now, one of the tricks to be able to know when our chicken is done is to take a thermometer, and we're going to stick it through the box, and we're going to get it into the breast of the chicken so that we can get a temperature from outside the box without having to open this up again over and over again to be able to check it with a meat thermometer. That obviously every time we flip it over, the heat escapes. It prolongs the cooking process. So with the breast of the chicken right there, I'm going to poke through my box, and try to get it about 3/4 of the way into that breast there. And we're set up with that. I'm going to just put this on the ground for a second. So the pan that we used is going to get double duty. It's actually going to fit. I'm going to make sure that it fits inside the box, which it does, and I'm going to set it right here. Bring my bricks that I have here. The bricks are going to create space so I get air underneath the edge here and up into the box so that my charcoal doesn't get snuffed out, and that's what is going to be our source of heat for this. So now I'm going to go over and get some charcoal, which I have going in my chimney, and get it set up in our tin. So on either edge of this pan, we're going to put about 9 briquettes of charcoal on either edge. I don't want to put it in the center because the drippings of the chicken are going to splash down there, flame up, or possibly even put out the charcoal or snuff it out a little bit. So we're going to add 9 to each side. So with our 9 charcoal briquettes on either side, the center open, we're going to take our box, flip it over carefully, and place it on top, being supported by the bricks, still getting some air around the sides. Now, one last trick that we're going to do is I have another thermometer here, and I'm going to take and stick that thermometer just into the box. And I don't want to go into the chicken in this. My purpose of this second thermometer is to be able to see what my oven temperature is. I want to try to be around 350 degrees, 350, 375. So this will give me an idea as I get cooking. If I start losing the heat from these briquettes, I'll know when to add some additional briquettes. So it doesn't get much simpler than this. We don't have to rotate the chicken at all. We just need to make sure it gets fully cooked. We want to get up to an internal temperature of 165 degrees. So we'll let this thing bake, and I can assure you that when it's done, it is going to be not only a delicious roasted chicken, but it's also going to be pretty amazing in how it looks, how it crisps up on the outside, and it certainly would be quite the treat at the campsite. So, Scouts, we're at about the 1 hour mark, and I added some heat, maybe a little too much heat at one point there, and hovered around the 350 mark. Realized that the first thermometer that I was using coming through the top of the box really wasn't working that well, so I had a backup thermometer, thank God. Scout is prepared, and having another thermometer that was working properly to monitor the inside temperature was a big help in adding coals when I needed them, and if it got a little too hot, taking some off. So the thermometer that we slid into the breast of the chicken is reading about 170. What we're going to do is we're going to go in with a more trustworthy thermometer and test it. We want to get into a meaty part of the chicken. right between the thigh and the... Don't want to go in too far because we don't want to touch the bone. And we're well past 165. I'm going to go right into the part of the breast that I was in, staying up around 175. I'll just try to come into the other breast, and that's about 175. So our chicken is done. The only thing left to do is let's get it off the stick and onto our cutting board here. Start by removing our 2 thermometers. If you're working as a patrol doing this, it's a lot easier with 2 people. See, there's a little bit of splatter on the inside of our box, so we'll clean that up and put another layer of foil on this before we do it with our next cardboard box chicken. And the bottom got a little, this is the part that was towards the heat, nice and caramelized. This looks delicious. Let's take here. I typically come in just look at that perfectly cooked chicken. Nice crisp skin. I don't know about you, but I enjoy that skin on this chicken. So here we have a perfectly cooked chicken, cooked in nothing more than a cardboard box lined with aluminum foil, wrapped up with a little painter's tape to keep it from coming off the box. We used a green little stick of wood to be able to hold it and act as the support inside the box. We cooked it over a foil pan with nothing more than charcoal that we prepared in our chimney. And in an hour of baking, we've got this delicious chicken. So I hope this inspires you to get out camping with your patrol and your troop. Try new and different methods for cooking. Try different things that you cook, not just the normal things that you're typically doing with your patrol. And I truly hope you get outside in the great outdoors and enjoy yourself.